You guys all set? Tyler, you all set?
Yep.
Okay, we'll call the Monday, July 8th, 2024 Williamstown Select Board meeting to order. First item is set the agenda. Anyone have any adjustments for the agenda?
Nope.
Okay, all in favor of the agenda as written, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? View of open public comments is the sheets up back there. If anybody's interested in looking at it, how the meeting is run. Any select board announcement?
Someone just mentioned, and I should have thought of myself, that the honor all the soldiers, the people that served in the military, looks really good in town. So thank you, whoever thought of that.
Yeah, that was pretty cool that they put on all those telephone poles. I know somebody's done a lot of work lately in the Veterans Park too, flower planting and stuff. I don't know who's responsible for all that.
Tina Carminetti.
Tina Carminetti? Big thank you for her for all her effort she's done in that. Any other select board announcements? Any public announcements? There's no report from Berrytown EMS or?
He will be here. He was going to try to get here as close to 7 as possible, so he is coming. So
Okay, the fast squad is not gonna be one?
No.
Okay. Commissioners, committees, trustees, and other board announcements?
I was just going to say, really, I don't know if this is the right spot to say it. Committees, the PAT Ordinance Committee met today for the first time. Aaron is going to be the chair. I believe Sam Punchar is the vice chair, and Mandy is going to be the secretary, the vice chair and secretary, in my memory. But we're going to meet again on the 22nd. The goal is to have the ordinances reconfigured by at least 6 months out from now, and get it back to the select board. So I said that I've got enough on my plate, so that's why I said I'll step back and just make sure everything's done that the select board wants and give ideas. So, and just a question on that: they are a public committee. We are a committee, correct? Or it is a committee. So if we have any meeting, we have to warn that, correct?
yes.
Okay. So I will make sure. The next one is the 22nd of July, and it's going to be here at 3 p.m.
Okay.
You're just in time. Come right up front here, you can tell people.
What's that?
You're just in time, come up here to hot seat.
Right in the hot seat. Well, good evening, everybody. Just a quick update. So, as up to the end of June, we've run just over 300 calls in Williamstown, which is roughly a 45% increase over last year at the same time. Our average response time from the time the 911 call place, ambulance on scene, was 8 minutes and 6 seconds. So that's been going pretty well. Just under 10% of those calls have come from our other stations. So overall, it's been, like I said, going really well. I think I told Jackie already, I'm not sure if she told you guys or not, or updated you, but our budget, Pat, we do our budget a little bit later than everybody else, so in May is when we do our budget vote. So Berrytown's budget passed, which means Williamstown will see a reduction. We parred all of our per capita rates across the board as best we could. I think we've leveled everybody's, including Berrytown's now, which will drop your next year's budget for the ambulance. What did you budget, Jack? 270?
Yeah.
270?
Yeah.
Yeah, so to drop it to around 228, 475, so $65 per capita. So you'll see a pretty substantial $40,000+ off what you budgeted. So you're already under budget, week of the fiscal year.
Definitely heading in the right direction.
So that's good news, I hope. Yeah, so you guys will see a new ambulance rolling around town here pretty quick. I just got it registered today. It's got a little bit of work to do. It's our first ambulance off the assembly line since we started down here, so On the back of some of our trucks, you'll see the towns listed that we serve, so Williamstown's now on there. So you'll see that roaming around town. Within the next 4 to 6 weeks, it's gotta get radios put in and be inspected by the state, all the formalized things. One thing, I see our fire chief's here. So Jackie had asked me, William and I have been exchanging emails back and forth about some call-specific things with Vermont 911 and the dispatch communication centers, Bear City, Lamoille, and so on. So I've met with the Vermont 911 board a couple of times, trying to figure out, how, when they take in a call, how they decide who they're gonna call. So I'm not sure how much you guys know about the 911 board, but they do not dispatch. They are the overseers of the 911 call takers. Those 911 call takers double as dispatchers. So for example, Lamoille County Sheriff's Office are dispatchers for us, but they are also Vermont 911 board call takers. The same with Williston State Police, Derby, I think they're consolidating. Derby might still answer phone, Westminster. Anyway, there's a few places, Hartford, a few places around the state that are 911 call takers and dispatchers. And then there are places that are just dispatchers. Barry City doesn't do 911 call taking. Montpelier doesn't do 911 call taking. So the moral of the story is, when they answer the phone and they say Vermont 9, if the call comes through 911, they answer the phone, they say Vermont 911, where is your emergency? That, they have a protocol that they go by. So the few cases that we've had a few, issues with lately are motor vehicle incidences. So the dispatcher or the 911 call taker takes the call. And a couple of the questions they ask are there any injuries? And if the person on the other end of the phone says it doesn't appear to be, or no, there are not, they push the ambulance aside. We're not gonna send them. If the next question is, are there any hazards? And if the answer to that is no, then they push the fire department aside and they just send the police. So I asked the 911 board, Ashley Happy is who I'm talking to, she's one of the training people. I said, so what's next? She said, next we would send, if it's a motor vehicle related incident, we send the police. So that happened recently with a motorcycle crash up on 64. And I heard the call, I heard Middlesex say, hey, to one of the troopers, you have a motorcycle down on 64. And he said, are there any injuries? And she said, the call taker, the person that called said it doesn't appear to be. He said, okay, are there any hazards? No, it's off the road on the lawn. He said, okay, I'll respond. So he responded. And it was a good 10 or 15 minutes before he signed on scene. And then another minute or two, and he said, oh, this lady might have a leg injury, send the ambulance or send rescue. So then they toned us, we again asked, do you need the fire department? No, the vehicle's off the road, the cop's already there. So I asked Ashley, I said, if a community wants to go to those calls, how do they make that happen? And her answer was, it's 911 is not gonna change their protocol. You have to then, and I think the chief talked with Christian, who works for Department of Public Safety, and you have to enter into a letter of agreement or enter into an agreement with whoever your police force is, and I think you guys kind of have state police and Orange County maybe. Yeah. So it might be a little, it might require a meeting with the sheriff and the commander of the state police barracks. And she said it gets a little interesting because the police are gonna say, well, we'll be happy to call you, but we're gonna call you every time there's a motor vehicle complaint, or we're gonna call you when 911 tells us to, which could mean that you may end up going to every slide off, every fender bender, every whatever they deem necessary. So I don't need to be part of that. It will probably be between the chief, Jackie, and the sheriff and VSP. That would be a preference of you all and what you want to respond to as far as motor vehicle incidents go to. If they decide there's a medical problem, they can call us. So that just was that update from them.
Looking to do any more, we have to.
Yeah, that's,
Run those vehicles for me. William?
Yeah, I agree, you know, I did speak with a Christian, can't pronounce his last name, so I won't try to
I can't
butcher it. But, from, Williston Barracks, and got, you know, got the same story, he did. Our biggest thing is, so traffic control and, accident scene safety has been pushed off to fire departments years ago because VSP, you know, don't have the manpower nor the time to deal with it. So to me now it comes down to a pick and choosing, and it just seems to me that if an ambulance is going out for an injury is reported, that the severity of the accident had to have been enough so that there's significant damage or leaking fluids or bare minimum a traffic control situation. And it just seems like we're getting stuck into, well, the troopers aren't available or we're on shift change or something like that. And it just, to me, the more we prolong that type of run response, it'll be a matter of time, the way people drive, especially on the interstate. You know, we had it happen once a few years ago where, you know, an ambulance got plowed into from behind. I believe it was a Barrytown ambulance at the time. So, you know, it's dangerous up there, and it's even dangerous on our regular roads, the way people drive. So I really would support, yeah, we're gonna have to get used to going to the slide offs again. We did it for years. If that's what it takes, because if it helps protect the EMS crew and scene safety, then that worst case scenario on the slide offs is just gonna be a turnaround and come back. Yeah, it's a waste of response up there, but that's the point of the pickup is so that we can run, you know, if it comes in as a slide off, we could run that up instead of, you know, a fire truck. So to me, I would support some sort of agreement. And I did, that Christian did get back to me today. I followed up with him today. He's supposed to call me tomorrow, and he said it sounds like it. He looked into it more and said it sounds like it'd be a simple fix. So it may not have to be much of anything that you as the board got to do, but if it comes down to the letter of agreement, I really hope that you guys can support that and get it before somebody gets plowed into or hurt, or the ambulance gets there and this person is significantly trapped in there. Now we're delaying getting our fire department going, getting extrication department going. So it's, to me, if it's an accident, fire, police, and ambulance should be all going.
A question, I know like the EMS bills for their services, does the fire department get reimbursed for being on the scene, doing whatever, traffic control or assisting or whatever?
A few years ago, we signed, or the board had signed a ordinance, we created an ordinance, and we do bill for accidents if we have to do a lengthy traffic control setup, or if there's a, you know, significant hazmat to clean up. If you're a taxpayer in the town, you don't get billed unless it's deemed a DUI crash. And then that falls under negligence, and so that we will bill for those if you're a taxpayer. Otherwise, if you're driving down Granville Road on a snowstorm and you're from Tower Road, it's a pay your taxes sort of thing, you know. But a lot of the out-of-staters that do 100 up on the interstate, that's where we, you know, and that all goes back into the fire department anyway. So it's like, well, they change all the time, but the company that does all the billing, they take 20%, and the rest goes to the fire department. So it's, I'm not doing it for the money, I'm doing it for the safety, you know, the safety, so.
Yeah, I understand, I know working out of town a lot, we go into work in the morning, you see these guys from Massachusetts or wherever going by you about 30 miles an hour fast and the road's capable of handling it, that, in the weather conditions. And
Yeah.
we talk to each other and say, well, we'll see how far we get before we see them in the ditch. And
Yeah. No, we
10
do,
miles up the road,
we do
there
definitely.
they are.
We'll bill them, and then sometimes the insurance companies will either pay them or they'll fight it out. And I mean, we don't try not to get involved with any of that. It's just a, pay it sort of thing. Especially if they were, traveling fast on road conditions, But I mean, if it was, like we had an accident yesterday, and the individual, he was a, I don't know, quadriplegic, I don't know which one it was, but, just a plain bad day for this individual, and they had a dog, and they had, his wife was all shaken up, and to me, what we had to do, a public service, and, away we go, but, no, some of these people go flying, pouring rain, hydroplane, because they're going fast, and so it's worked out. I think it's been 3-4 years since we've started doing it.
So what he was just saying was, if you sign on to this thing, you're in for 100% or on.
Yeah, I mean, I've talked with the fire officers as well, and we're all on the same page. It's seeing safety. I mean, these guys are out, they got their job to do, and they're not paying attention to, nor should, I mean, they should, but they got other things going on, and people go whizzing by you. It's just a, hands-on sort of thing. But yes, we all, and I mean, another example is, this is 2 years ago now, I was on my way home on South Hill, and, it was a Toyota pickup, went head on into one of them big maple trees. I mean, the front end was pushed right in, and both fire nor ambulance got called. And the other thing, I get what they're saying about the caller, when they call 911, are you injured? And right now, you're just shooken up, so you say, no, I don't think so. And then, is there any hazards? And I don't know what the extent of the hazard question goes down as, but, hazards to the fire department are leaking fluid, battery, things smoking, is it, steaming off? It's a whole sort of thing, different things that we look at as hazards. So if you ask the question, are there any hazards to a typical person, they may not know what that means, so they say no. So that's where we run into. But the other thing I worry about is a person says, no, I'm not injured, and you take a significant accident like the one I came across a couple of years ago on South Hill, and then they hang up the phone with 911, and VSP arrives on scene, the guy's, laying out because he had an internal injury that he didn't know about. So that's why when I say I support both all fire, police, and EMS going, it seems to me like the smartest thing to do, in my opinion.
I just know it works well in the cities, where they get a full-time staff to do that stuff, but volunteering, really on a volunteer force could be iffy at times,
Well, yes, I agree, but right now during the day, we can pull 8 to 10 guys that leave work and come, and then at night, we're pulling 18 to 20. I think I have 22 at the moment, so it's, could change. I'm not going to say it's going to stay that way forever, but we have a bunch of dedicated people right now.
So, you've been doing this basically very long anyway, right?
Yeah, I mean,
So, was there, nothing's really changing from what you've been doing, right?
no, it just seems like the drop of communication came when we went from dispatching the ambulance with Lamoille to Barry. It just seems to be where, because before it was always, when there was an accident, one dispatch agency telling both fire and ambulance, and away we went. And the beauty of it, working off one dispatch agency, was that they get there, or if the fire department gets there before the ambulance and there is no injuries, we can cancel the ambulance upon their discretion, and then vice versa. the ambulance will do the same to the fire department. And I know we've had various towns done that a couple times. And 3/4 of the way there, so might as well just go and, you know, for example, we had one 2-3 weeks ago on Furno Road. It was called in saying it was off the road. The car was well off into the trees, burning up his tires, trying to get out, creating a bunch of smoke. Nothing was gonna happen, but just getting there and ahead of the police to say, stop, you know, stop what you're doing, sort of thing, so. Yeah.
So, we got Lamoille dispatch, and you got buried,
Other way.
Yeah.
We're Lemoyne, we have Lemoyne, we got Bear City.
so what's the difference between the two? What, is there any reason why we couldn't have the same one?
They're contracted.
That's a contract thing, yeah.
Right, I know, but I mean, when contracts change or whatever, anything to do, make it work better, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I did talk with, he obviously was the person in charge, because I asked to speak this morning when I called Lamoille. He never gave me his name, but just to simply ask, you know, can we have a separate contract so that Lamoille will call Berry City to have us dispatched out for the time being? I mean, he didn't think that was necessary, that he'd send an email out to the dispatchers. The one question we have, I think we talked about a little bit, was when Berry City has a fire on their second alarm, they'll start listing off, they have all the departments that need to go on that, and with 3 different dispatch agencies. And you'll hear them say, attention Lamoille dispatch, attention Capital West dispatch. It gets their attention that they need to be alert. I know that's a little more complex for just a, you know, an automobile accident setup. I wonder, between the 2 dispatch agencies, you know, can this be simplified to, I'm sorry, I know Lamoille is listening to Barry and Barry's listening to Lamoille. You can't tell me that they're not. So it just seems like it could be simplified, but I won't really know that until Christian gets back to us tomorrow about what he thinks is the simple solution for fixing that problem. So.
Well, sounds like something you guys need to work on some more, see if you can get it worked out, between you and David.
Yeah, we've tried, the biggest thing right now is getting, so like I said, the call taker takes the call, and then they look at the, you know, so let's say it's a motor vehicle crash with hazards, with injury, then the call taker is going to call Berry City, the 911 dispatcher's call taker is going to call Berry City and Lamoille to say, hey, we need Berrytown for an EMS, we need Williamstown Fire for this. And then they'll send the state police or Orange County or whomever happens to be, you know, whichever law enforcement entity is I would assume probably the state police most of the time. So that's how that's supposed to work. In this instance, with the agreement we're talking about would be the call taker would take the call and they would look at their little cards and they would say, well, there's no injury and there's no hazards, or the caller says there's no hazards. So then they would flip hats, and if they're from Williston or, you know, dispatching for VSP, and they would flip it open and say, okay, it's VSP Berlin. And then the part I'm unclear about is that agreement for the dispatcher to say, okay, we're sending the police, we also have this agreement, we need to send Williamstown Fire? Or is that something that the troopers know about to say, hey, we're going to send Williamstown Fire? And that's the part we're waiting for. Because Christian works for public safety, not the 911 board, so he's more in tune to figure that process out, where that call goes from there.
Sounds like a lot of red tape to me.
It does to me a little bit, but it sounds like you gentlemen have it narrowed down to that person that needs to answer your question. What you're asking from us is to support you with this, whatever is something, small contract be written out. So you guys just go and do your job and to me, and this is me personally, but I believe a lot of other people agree. It comes to safety factor, I don't care if it's somebody from Massachusetts, Washington, Williamstown, whatever, if it's or even for the EMTs. Another set of lights up there, slowing people down, keeping control of that exterior situation, what you're doing, kudos, go ahead and do it. It should be done anyways, so, that's me.
Yep. Yeah, it sounds like you guys are getting closer.
Sounds like it just seems like you said, red tape, I mean, this seems like it shouldn't have taken 7 months to get this.
No, it shouldn't.
Get this figured out. And to circle back to what Clayton just said on the safety part, is 2 years ago we installed, it's called the HOS alert system into all of our units that go to accidents. So I think it's all of them except for the ladder truck. And basically it sends an alert, GPS alert, if you have GPS in your car or on your phone and you've got that set up, it'll send an alert to the driver on the vehicle that there's an accident ahead, and it'll even tell them which lane it is, so they just move over to which lane. And I haven't spent a great deal of time studying it, but we have noticed a big difference of people I wouldn't say slowing down, but moving over ahead of time into the right lane they need to be in. And definitely with the setup of the pickup, since we instituted that, being able to set up further back from the accident, that's made a huge difference to the actual emergency scene that's ahead. So it definitely pays off for sure. So.
I'm new to this town, but I've lived in a smaller town where the state police are much longer time to respond, and having local responders be on scene first, making the assessment, I think is really important. And because the state police are not always going to be able to respond quickly, depending on where they are. And getting somebody to the scene can be really critical. I have a lot of friends that are EMTs and down in fire departments, and I know that that's saved lives. And having that communication be more open, yes, you're going to have some calls that you're just going to be turning around, but having somebody who knows what they're looking for, assess the scene is, I think, a really good idea.
Anybody else have anything? I agree with the rest of the board on the safety issue a bit, but also our proximity to the interstate, we get a lot more calls than other small towns would get just because of the fact we're next to the interstate. And if you're getting reimbursed for these trips up there for somebody just being foolish, or you may not have to be just being foolish, but just because it doesn't put a burden on the town as long as the money's coming back in, I'm saying. As far as our local people and stuff, and local roads, that's not an issue for me, but just chasing up the interstate, every thing that may come along is an expense to the town, and as long as you're staying on top of billing and making sure we're getting reimbursed for those trips, I'm all on board with it. I don't know what's the rest of the board's thoughts, but I think that's an important part of it, to make sure that.
I think it's, I have to double check, but it's, every time we do get reimbursed, unless it's a rare tractor trailer incident, normal passenger vehicle, I think it's $459 that the town gets back. So that covers the payroll and the expense to send the truck up there by far. So definitely puts the money back. I think I'd have to get the numbers again, but I think we've done a little less than 100 bill submits since we started. I think there's only 10 that either tied up in legal issues or just plain haven't paid. So the turnaround is pretty good. So the important thing was to have the ordinance in place when they did. Because if you had no ordinance, the insurance companies can deny it. So the fact that the town has the ordinance is, you know, pretty done deal, so.
So at this point, we do this by consensus, so we need to take a vote on it, or?
Just one question and for Jackie. When is our contract due with Berry City Dispatch? How often do we do it?
Just, I think, started one
Yeah.
last year, so I think we're here
For
to,
3 years.
Is there a contract?
So, what is it you exactly would like to have us vote on if we need to vote on something?
I don't know if you need to vote on anything yet, just.
We talked about a lot of different things, but nothing real specific yet.
I think the main thing is, I don't know what the extent of the letter of agreement will come to. I think when it comes to that, I mean, vote on that. But right now, yeah, there's nothing tonight, really vote on other than just be aware that that's hopefully gonna get, there needs to be one, that you'll see one by your next meeting.
So
I think if you just do a,
I think at this point, like consensus of the board, we're telling you to go ahead and work on this agreement, and try to work out details, and we'll look at the final version of it. If you have any comments or changes, deal with it at that time. But I think we're in favor of it. Right?
Yeah.
You have anything else, David? Anybody have any questions for David on the EMS? Thanks for coming in. Thank you.
Anytime.
You all set, William?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks both.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Okay, next thing is approve the warrants. There's one of them that was for my company that's already signed off on, but Chris is not here, so I'm just gonna run them all together, and I just won't vote on any of them. We got 3 people here anyway, so we're all set. So we need to motion to approve SB 102, 103, 104, 105, and 106.
Make that motion.
I'll second that.
Mr. Big, seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And the payroll warrants are 6/16/24 and 6/30/24. Is there a motion for that?
I make the motion to approve. Rick.
I'll second that.
Any discussion on that? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Select board, approve the select board meeting minutes of 6/10/24. A motion on that?
Come on.
Anybody second?
Second that.
Okay. Motion made, seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next is the town manager report, Jackie.
okay. Delinquent taxes as of today is $66,381.45. Water is at $25,208.62. And sewer is at $33,364.36. I just want to make a note that I just sent out the delinquent water and sewer bills that were due June 28th. And this is the first time that I've sent out 114 delinquent tax bills out of 375. So just fair warning that it's probably only going to get worse.
Jackie, I never got mine until the late one on Railroad Street. We never got a
Yeah.
original copy. So
Okay.
I think it's a post office.
Yeah, because, I mean, they all went to the post office at the same time,
Yeah,
so,
I
and then
think
there
that
were
may
a
be
couple of
some
other
of it.
people that didn't get their original ones too.
yeah. The first one we got was a delinquent
Yeah.
one. So I wonder if that might not be a problem with that, so.
Yeah. But, yeah, because it was excessive, 114 delinquent bills that I sent out. Let's see. So under, the generator was installed at the town office. I'm just waiting for Gillespie's to come and install the propane tanks, and then Brookfield Service will come back and do the test run on that, but that has been installed. Meadow Street, the EWP grant that the town sponsored to dredge Meadow Street. We're finally going to start that on July 15th. Tim Ward's going to start that next Monday. We finally got the approval. We could not use the stub dump as the disposal site for the dredging because of the turtles and the bats. They found a turtle on the Williamstown Youth Sports Salby Field with an egg, and that's in close proximity to the stump dump, so we could not use it as our disposal site. So the dredging material is going to Berkshire to be disposed of because Tim Ward, who's the contractor that got the bid,
There you go.
has a site that was approved for when they repaid and did all the ditching on 113. So we reviewed that with EWP and they approved it, so the
Price stays the same.
price is staying the same. It's
I was gonna say,
transported.
that's the budget, that's quite a little difference in travel for
Yeah,
Especially up at Chelsea Hills, because we run out.
up there, down there, and then back up there, yeah, I guess so.
Industry Street, dredging is still pending Act 250 permit amendment. I'm waiting on Ben Matthews from A&R to send the revised permit for the additional 100 feet that we added to it to dredge into the other brook. As soon as that's done, we should be a go with the Act 250 amendment for Gilbert and Stone. Finally received the Green Mountain Power check for the water line damage they did on Industry Street. So that's come through. We received a letter from the state. It's a reappraisal order for the town of Williamstown. We have to have a specific plan in place by November 15th of 2024 this year for the reappraisal, because our COD is at 21.75% and it has to be 20% or under. It's not the CLA anymore, it's the COD. Brockway Hill Brook repair, Gilbert Graniteville Road repair, Getz Road, Graniteville Road have all been completed from the December 2023 FEMA flood damage. Bailey, the intersection of Bailey and Graniteville Road is being worked on now by Mike Avery's company. He should have that done by the end of next week. Brush Hill Bridge is being repaired as we speak, and that should be done hopefully by the end of next week.
Depends on the hurricanes coming.
Yeah, depends on Wednesday and Thursday. That will just leave the Chelsea Road mudslide, will be the last project to be completed from the December flooding. I spoke with Tiffany today on the Falls Bridge Road paving project. She is going to get back to me with the set date for that. It got bumped up a little bit, but it should be by the end of July, first part of
Is
August.
that Tiffany Gas?
From Pike.
Yes, okay.
Yeah. We replaced a culvert on Martin Road. We replaced a culvert on Bearscat. Martin Road has been ditched from Dennis Duff's driveway up to the intersection. Gilbert to Young has been, and Erskine have all been ditched. That was completed today. Edging has been completed on Gilbert Road, Baptist Street, Chelsea Road, Menard Cross Road. The roadside mower started today, so you'll see that throughout the next month. Dave met with Ashley Andrews, who is our rep for the Municipal Roads Grant program. And we are doing 3 segments on Chelsea Road and 3 segments and 2 segments on Menard Cross Road. We have a $31,000 grant for the Chelsea Road, a $22,000 grant for Menard Cross Road, and then we have another additional $17,000 grant that they're working on determining the location for that, for the municipal roads grant program. Currently, we have received $587,244 from FEMA. I've signed off on additional $57,000 a week and a half ago, so that should be in the kitty here by the end of this week. All of the projects for the July 2023 flood have been approved. The only one that we're waiting on is Martin Road and various roads that were lumped together because they were small segments, and if it's under $3,900, then FEMA won't pay for it, but they lumped them all together because we had multiple ones of that. So we're waiting on Chelsea Major Road, South Hill Major Road Culvert and Gilbert Major Road Culvert. Erskine, Felicity, and Young were lumped together, and then Martin. Those are the only ones that we have not seen funding for. So Martin is the only one that's still pending formal approval. They just signed off on the South Hill Major Culvert today. There was a question, the GPS coordinates were off by a little bit, and it dumped it back into the 1,600 feet down below. So that had to be fixed. Depends on who takes the GPS coordinates. Let's see. The paving grant. The fire department is requesting that the balance remaining as of June 30th in their general budget be moved into the truck reserve to go towards the refurbish of the truck. That will save us borrowing roughly $38,000. So if I could get approval to move that into the reserve account, that's what they're requesting from that. And I think that is everything.
Someone want to make a motion on the fire department request?
I'll make a motion to approve that, providing that there's not any legal backlash by any, the voter's gonna do
No.
that. Okay, just trying to cover that base first.
Money that's been spent.
Okay, then yes.
I'll second that.
Motion made, seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. That's it?
That's it.
Thank you. Okay, there's no new business. We're under
Bunny's
old.
got a question.
Roddy?
What's the status on that trailer on Meadow Street? It's supposed to be done by the
Which one, two there now? You
No,
talking
no.
about the new ones that moved
The
in?
mobile home, not the campers.
home.
That they build the fence around so Ross can't get to it. He's in legal issues with them through the court system. He served them their 14-day eviction notice, that they had to pay all the back rent and the back water and sewer. They did not do that, so now it's gone to court. So it could take up to 18 months with the judicial system, the way that they're rolling lately.
Well, there was one camper there, now there's two, right?
There's 3 campers
Three
there.
there now?
There's 3, and they built a compound around it and blocked that trailer in.
Isn't there one more out back too? Or on the backside between the river? Because there was.
Yeah, I think there's 3 campers.
Yeah, 3 campers and then the mobile home
There's
that,
two.
Okay.
There's nothing to
I had Dan Mason there from A&R reviewing to see if there was any issues with contamination from sewage. He did not find anything. He said, and he called Ross and talked to Ross and told Ross that he just had to move forward with the eviction. Our town council, Nick Lowe, has been involved with their legal aid attorney because they're demanding that I turn the water back on for them. I can't turn the water back on because the water is hooked up through that mobile home where there was the major leak, where they had the $6,000 water leak.
So where's the sewage going?
We were told by the woman that lives there that they have a pump coming in and pumping.
Okay. Chris?
So I bumped into Ross last night, and he said he believes that Steve, who is his attorney, had them on that exact thing, is that he's asked them to provide proof of disposal of the septic. I think that's the only loophole that they have right now is to get Dan Mason involved as far as dumping gray or even black water onto the ground, is especially that close to a watershed. I mean, I think that's probably the avenue.
And I did talk to Dan last week, and he did go and do the inspection, and he had talked to Ross at that point. The only other thing under our ordinance, our water and sewer ordinances, a camper can be hooked up to a water and sewer, the public water and sewer, but the campers have to be road ready, so that means they have to be registered and they have to be inspected. And none of those campers are. The other two criteria is they don't fall under where they're seasonal and they come in for, 6 months and leave for 6 months. So that's where we stand, but I do know that Steve's been working with Ross.
Okay, any other questions for Jackie? Okay, so we're on the old business, Hoyt Seaver Ball Field fence construction property line boundaries. Peter, anything on fence costs or stuff?
Yep, so I talked to Rob Townsend, I've talked to the attorney, and moving the fence, we're looking at the recording of the deed. If you choose to sell, we're looking at roughly $9,000 for all the costs.
That fence included?
Fence is included. So that's the fence, the new survey, the legal fees, recording of the deeds.
Were you gonna make an offer on that?
Yes, most certainly. Question, why would we be moving a fence? Because the offer is not on anything with a fence on it. I'm just asking because it would make an influence on my offer, so.
Say that again about
So
that.
there's $9,000 to move the fence if the.
Oh, that was.
No, that was the total of everything.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry, I
That included
misunderstood.
moving the
That's what I
fence.
thought, because Rob Townsend was involved in it, so I didn't know if that, so.
It's illegal, it means the survey,
Gotcha.
all legal
No,
costs
okay.
with fence.
The discussion when we met over there was to move the fence up so it was 2 feet from the building.
Got you, so that has nothing to do with the piece of property that I would be making an offer.
No.
All right, do you mind if I speak, Chair?
Nope.
Okay, great. So let me just give this to you guys because otherwise I'm talking Greek. So you guys have all been there, so. The highlighted property here, Chair. The highlighted property is the only portion that I would be interested in making an offer on. That was that piece from the inset down to the pin. The back line on that is 182.82 feet. The inset is 23.2 feet. If you take that area, if it was a rectangle, which it's not, it'd be 0.097 acres. So since it's a exact pie piece, it would be half of the rectangle, so half of the acreage. It would be 0.048 acres, would be the exact amount of land, 0.048. Discussing with Steve, and this is just his opinion, but since it's a one pin adjustment, and that pin would be being moved 23.22 feet, and the other pin is a zero fluctuation, because it goes down, of course, that peak, then it could be just a deed adjustment on there would be no survey needed, because it would just be a 23.22, and the two deeds could be adjusted, and that would suffice legally evermore.
But it would be better to have the survey recorded along with the transaction, that way it's done for.
Right, and I asked Steve because I want it's as an offer, I'd want to be protected too. But if it's to move the pin 23.22 feet, and Rob wants $4,000 to move that pin because you're moving one pin, I think that's
I don't think they're even moving the pin, the line's just moving over to the other.
That's it, yeah, so the pin would, yeah, nothing would be
Just
moving
eliminating that
except for,
pin.
that would be just an elimination of the
The
pin,
only
so.
only thing we'd have to do is change the property map. So it could be-
Exactly, yeah, and that's what you have in front of you there, so that jutting would go away. So I made a preliminary offer, so based upon that, I'm offering to pay all of the attorney's fees. If you guys deem it necessary that Rob has to be involved, I would just want to confer with the town's attorney, which I'll pay for as part of the fees, and my attorney to see if there would even need, I don't believe for protection wise on both parties and forevermore, that there would need to be any survey, official survey done to move that pin 20. Steve said he's almost, he said he's positive was his words, but that's of course up to the town. But I would want to see what just that fee would cost.
He said it would be 1,500.
Okay, so I think that that's fair. I think if you guys are more comfortable with that. So I pay $1,500 for the 0.048 acres. I pay, of course, my attorney, I pay your attorney, and I would pay Rob Townsend. And that would adjust the acreage 0.048 and give us a straight property line from the street pin all the way down to the pin at the one that's down on the edge of the river.
Yeah.
So it's gonna cost me about $10,000 probably, is what it'll cost me for that. So that's everything. It's just a standard purchase and lease. Nothing's filled in because the name of the property is TBA. If it's accepted, closing date, this can change also if Rob, who knows how far back up he is, but we can adjust the closing date at any time. But I'm ready to go anytime. But again, we have to get a surveyor there. Place of closings at the Williamstown Town Office, and pending the two attorneys being able to be there and the town being able to sign off. Again, I would cover all costs associated with the transfer to the elimination of the pin. So that's everything that I brought.
So, this, my writing, you're offering 10,000 to make the deal happen, right?
So offering $1,500 for the sliver, and then paying all the other fees associated with it, which will be a total of about $10,000.
You figured this was gonna be 9, we'd have 9 in it. So, the town's gonna have to make up the deed
Yes.
and all that from any experience I ever had doing this. I think the simplest way out is have the town get everything ready, have your lawyer review it.
Yep.
And you give the town a check for $10,000, and we'll take care of all the other expenses.
You'll take care of the attorney's fees.
You take care of your own attorney's fees.
No, of course.
We'll take it.
No, I understand.
Your attorney needs to review what the town attorney draws up for deed. Town attorney will make the deed. We'll have Rob Townsend do the survey work, to have the recordable Mylar done. And we'll have fence adjusted wherever we want it, but that's near the same what the town does with the fence, but you'll pay $10,000 for this transaction. Right? That's what you're saying?
Well, no, what I'm saying is that it will cost me about $10,000 is what I'm saying. I want to pay $1,500 for the property. So if Rob Townsend's not involved, then I would save the survey, which is about $1,500. So the property itself is worth nothing to me, and it's worth nothing to you. It does make a straight line, and that's the truth. I mean, I don't live there, nor will I ever live there, and apartments aren't tough to rent, but this does eliminate a jut-in, and it does give you a straight line. The property, if I'm paying $1,500 for 0.04 whatever acreage it is, and probably 3/4 of that is in the bank over into the river, so none of it's even part of the initial coverage. So it's all flood zone too. But that'd be about 35.5, I wrote it right on there for you, did the math. That'd be about 35.5 an acre, which I would say is far, far over actual market value for land in the town of Williamstown. You couldn't build on 0.04 or something, so.
Well, I've been through enough of these real estate deals that should have a set sum. The town will get the property ready, get the bylaw made, deed made for your lawyer to review, and we should have a set amount that you're gonna pay for it. And we'll take care of all expenses.
I will pay you $5,000 for it, set amount. I'm not gonna pay for the whole fence, the whole fence is $9,000. The fence has nothing to do with any of this. But the piece of property does, I'll give you $5,000, deed adjusted, one pen, and I'll bring a check to the closing after of course, my attorney reviews the deed. But I'll pay you $5,000 for 0.048 acres.
I don't know what the rest of the board thinks. I had in my mind it's probably worth about 10,000, but. I mean, it's worth way more to you than anybody else. It's gonna cut half your parking lot out.
I have so much parking there, it's unbelievable, Larry. I mean, honestly, it doesn't, you know, I mean, that's fine. If you want a foul baseline going into there, that's okay. You own the property. You own the property, you can bring the fence right to the pin, and I don't care. The thing that I'm trying to offer is a very, very, very fair offer at $5,000.
You just got done saying you thought you were gonna have 10,000 in it.
Huh?
You just got done saying you're gonna have 10,000 in it. You don't have to put any money in it if we do it all.
You're saying that Rob Townsend doesn't need to survey, is what you're saying?
No, you just got done telling us you thought you were gonna have $10,000 into it.
Right, so I'm paying you $5,000. $5,000 for the land. You bring a deed. If you feel like you have to have Rob do it, I don't feel like I do. That's based upon opinion.
There.
Rodney?
I don't want to see any tax dollars, our tax dollars go into this. Because, I mean, property taxes are gonna be outrageous as it is. And, I mean, for whatever reason, this has become an issue, but I don't want to see any tax dollars, as a taxpayer, I don't want to see any tax dollars being used for
If we do it this way, this thing's been going on way before Chris's time about where the boundary line was. And fence, the backstop being on the other property, which it never was to start with, but finally got checked out to be sure. And this way we'd have that line straightened out. It will not cost, if we get $10,000 for it, it'll cover all the costs. Cover the cost to fix the fence, cover the cost to do all the survey and do all the legal transactions, and town will not lose a dime. So that's why I think 10,000 is a fair number, in my opinion. I don't know, I'm not speaking for the rest of the board, but to make all this happen and get this done once and for all. But 5,000, in my opinion, is not.
We did enough to cover the cost.
Right.
Fine.
That will.
Personally, as a taxpayer, I don't understand tax dollars.
No, that's
No,
that's been discussed based from the get-go that
I think-
we weren't gonna lose any money on this.
There's so much gone over the years. I think the town needs to take the lead, get this done, get it straightened out, get the fence put where it needs to be, and done with once and for all. And I think $10,000 will cover that cost, based on Jackie's information. Or else we put the fence where it's on the line where it's supposed to be, and that'll be it. I mean, the fence is never where it was supposed to be to start with. It's always been way in on the town side. On one end of it, one end of it. So that's just my opinion. I'm only one person, so you guys weigh in on it.
The part of the fence that we only need to move at this point is toward Beckett Street.
Toward Beckett Street.
Because everything else is straight, that's the only part that's off the building. Because the pin is right on the corner of Beckett and the field. Is that the only part of fence we're talking that needs to be readjusted?
Gotta finish fixing the other part, right? By the ball backstop.
Yeah, it's not done yet.
Yeah, 'cause it hasn't been done. Now, the purpose
But
moving out.
that fence was already paid for, correct? It just hasn't been done.
No, it didn't.
No, we had to move that, that post was moved because We thought that it was on Chris's property,
Okay.
and the road crew had to take it down, so it's the addition of that, repairing that too.
Okay.
Well,
So
that,
then it would be a straight shot. So you put it 2 feet from the building, straight shot all the way down, and repair the backstop. So there would be some additional fencing had to be added, because right now it's on an angle, the way the original fence was.
So how much did it cost to have the town, because we thought it was on Chris's property, and then what was that cost? Because you said that the fence was installed, correct? And then we thought it was on Chris's property.
No,
and
that
then-
fence was never fixed.
Okay.
We had to take down that one tall post
Okay.
from the backstop that would have never been taken down. So that's an additional expense. And then repairing the rest of it up through in a straight line. So you move the fence up 2 feet from
Yeah.
the apartment building and a straight shot down, and then repair the backstop.
The property line is actually only a foot off the private building, but it would be no room for anybody to even
Yeah.
go between us. So,
Doing any building maintenance or property maintenance against it, so.
Chris,
So just so we clarify, if addressing you, just so we clarify for the answer from Jackie about the backstop, because you and I are the only two that actually, I think, really went down there and walked it before you did the ditch. That post did have to be removed. I think you'll agree, it was buckled and bent from the, not only buckled and bent, it was actually leaning over about 6 feet onto the thing. So as far as, yes, it got removed immediately because we did think it was on my property, but the pole would not have stayed there because that and one other pole are damaged. So you're probably still gonna have to replace one of the poles on top of the other one that was severely bent and damaged. So Tyler's question was, did we incur any cost to the backstop? Jackie said we would have left that pole. The reality was that pole was never going to get left. I think you'll agree with me, you and I both looked at it clearly. The confusion is that the back was on there. And as Larry has stated, for years, the previous owner said that he owned out the
Home plate.
own blade, and actually went out on the mound and started screaming and cussing at the parents and middle school students there, calling them MFers, and they'll never play another baseball game on the field. And this time, I was incorrect as far as the placement of the poles, but the pole would have absolutely come down, to answer your question. So I think that, Larry, I think your number is 100% correct. I would like to negate, Steve's charged me $1,500 for my attorney's fees, which would have been part of my $10,000 offer. So I'll pay $8,500 for the property. If I put my $1,500 to Steve in there, then I spent $10,000 for the property, and I think that that's what you're saying is fair. Moving that,
I want to make sure the town's covered.
oh, they are, I mean,
In a
at
town-
$8,500, you're more than covered.
The town, I think the 10,000 number is fair for the town. To have your attorney review the deed shouldn't cost $1,500, but that's at the,
$325 an hour.
well, it's pretty simple. So, I deal with attorneys all the time. If I ever gonna go for that little thing for $1,500, you wouldn't be an attorney anymore. Anyway, my opinion is it's worth 10 grand. I've asked the other board members to state what they think it's worth. It's up to them.
I think just for me, I just need to know the breakdown of everything. Just throwing $10,000 out, like you said, 5,000 or 1,500 for the land. Your attorney fee is $1,500. What's the town's attorney's fees?
It's $1,500.
But he's
Fence.
got to prepare the deed and all that.
$6,000. I had $1,500 in there for the legal fees, $1,500 in there for the surveying, and $6,000 for the fence. So it's $9,000. Like I said, it was $9,000.
And this part of the fence, because the rest of the fence all around the field was covered by the flood damage, correct? But this particular part of the fence was not.
Right.
Why was this particular fence not covered?
Because it wasn't damaged at the time.
I wasn't there, I was obviously not on this walk where this pole was damaged, so I can't say it was or was not. It almost made it sound like, again, like we moved the fence there, then we brought it back, so that's what I thought the fence So $9,500, right, or 75, no, 9,500.
900.
No, you have my
Yeah.
attorney's fees and stuff.
So the town's accrued expenses, 9,000,
Yes,
and you're offering 8,500? I would say if you can go up another 500.
It's not, it's a consortium, like everybody's saying, but.
I mean, it's $500. I think if 9 is what it's gonna cost the town, truly cost the town. Not that I'm a haggling man, but.
I'll pay $9,000 for it, Larry, if that works for you, and we can end it right now, and then whenever it happens, we can close whenever.
I'm just one board member,
No,
so the other two.
No, I'm talking to the chair, that's what I should address, so.
I think, like Rodney said, as long as it's not costing the taxpayers any money, 9 is the number, 9 is the number. It gets rid of a headache that's been going on probably since I was playing baseball there in the 1990s, so.
I'm good with 9,000.
I agree with the 9,000.
I'm good with 9. Well, that's a lot better than 5.
Okay.
And you take care of your own lawyer's expenses.
100%.
Okay.
While we're talking about the borderline, can I ask one favor? This is, the 9,000 is fine. So when you said 2 feet on the building, does 2 feet allow a push mower? You would know equipment wise, maybe not a push mower, but how wide is a push mower? No, the only reason, that's all that I care about, getting between the fence. Because any ladder work or anything could be done from any end of the building, but can you get a push
Worst
mower
case
down
is
to
a weed
there?
whacker. I mean,
No, my
they
guy
make-
does it with a push
The
mower.
biggest
that's why.
problem we were worried about was the
The
smell.
snow
We
damage.
didn't want to
in the
crush the fence, we
Yeah.
figured 2 feet snow would clear it in the winter time.
fence. Yeah, the old,
The eaves
I
hang,
agree,
eaves hang on
100%.
it, so.
So
I mean,
the only
they
thing I'm
all
worried about
understand.
is having friggin' grass, it's gonna look like hell on both
Right,
sides, so.
oh yeah, I would agree, but I mean, they make all different size push mowers, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just a standard size Toro push mower.
Mine is, I have a Craftsman for my own house, it's 21 inches.
I was gonna
There
say
you
mine's
go.
probably
Perfect.
about 18.
And that, I don't know if that includes the side chute, but
No,
they
that's,
can, they can put that up.
side chute can be held up. He can worry about that, he mows my lawn, so. That's the only concern that I had, is making sure it's maintained on that
Oh, that's
side.
good, it's good, be nice to have it maintained.
Everybody have a nice straight fence.
And did
Okay.
you guys want the tree to come down completely? We all were in agreement that night, I think we all agreed that probably should take
The
it
one where
down.
the pin is with all.
The big lilac
Yeah.
is now going to sit on inside the pin, but the town had mentioned something about wanting it down, so,
But definitely make it easier for the
for
survey.
everything.
Yeah. Actually, Rob is gonna have said, well, we're not, it's still gonna be the same thing, we're just gonna keep the fence out of front, so it's, yeah. If you don't care about the tree, it'd be easier to take it down.
Yeah, I know, I would rather have it gone, I just wanted to see if that was something you guys wanted.
Mike,
The only question I have on that is that there's windows on that side for the apartments, I assume. Is there another fire escape for those units?
That is the egress, those windows.
The one where the fence is?
Yeah.
Okay, I just looked into the code on that. I'm not sure how that works on, an adjoining property, but make
actually,
sure
the
that,
property line's only a foot off the building.
I'm saying just make sure that, it doesn't block the fire escape is all.
Well,
There's
it goes
no
back, that all depends what size person's coming out.
Trust
the
me, I'm
window.
getting out, the house is burning, I'm getting out to the amount where there's a fencer. It's coming out. Yeah, that doesn't bother me at all.
If it's warm enough, they'll jump the fence, I'm sure.
They will jump the fence.
And we don't have zoning, and I honestly don't know the fire code. I mean, I work in Burlington, and I can assure you, we have fences right against buildings.
Yeah.
So, I mean, as a firefighter in the town, if that building was ever to catch fire, we have ladders and we would go on the ball fence, we'd cut the fence down, honestly. That's the reality of it.
Unless they put the
That
ladder
fence is a lot cheaper
straight
than
up and
someone's
down, they're
line.
gonna have to put it on the other side of the fence anyway.
Right.
There's a K-12 on engine 3.
Thank you, everyone. Jackie, just reach out if you don't mind, email, and just let me know.
Yeah, we
what
gotta
your
make this
approximate
official.
Closing. Again, I have no hurry on the closing, but I'll get you a check when we're ready, okay?
I'll make a motion that we sell the property to Chris Devereaux for $9,000.
Your second.
Whether the address is.
Second that.
Motion made, seconded. Any other discussion? All,
Yes.
all in favor? Aye. Vote. Thank you for getting this resolved.
The fence to Balco is over.
Thank you.
What am I gonna yell about now?
Oh, there's plenty of other properties you
It's
own.
getting farther and few between, like,
All right,
Okay, round table. Tyler, everything?
I have something, I know I'm not at the table, but.
Just different table, that's all right.
I just heard me that the next meeting will be August 12th. Primary is August 13th, voting will be at the Williamstown Middle High School. I believe I just talked to Josh today, it worked out so good that the special school vote is in the library. I think we're gonna do the primary in the library. And in November, we'll go back to the gym. But right now, the polls will open at 7 a.m., 7 p.m. Can't make it, there's absentee ballot. Just call the office.
Just one thing again, there was a fire, I was not there in Middlesex, I think he still teaches at Williamstown.
Yes, Mr. Delina.
Mr. Dennis Delina's home had a fire Saturday, so I don't know if they're doing anything for his family, but it was a complete loss. So at least have him in your prayers.
Right. There's a GoFundMe page set up, I know that much. I haven't talked to like Chris Leclerc at the school, I don't know if this, I would imagine after all these years of being employed at the school, there would be something.
Yeah, but he was a teacher, I think he started when I was roughly in the 7th grade, he's been there for many years.
That's all I have to say.
Scott, anything?
Nope.
Clayton? No. I'm good. Motion to adjourn?
make a motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Motion made second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks everyone for coming.